Our first speaker for tonight is none other than our convener, the global Anjee. Anjolaoluwa Anifowose, also known as the Global Anjee, is a passionate community and project manager and digital content creator dedicated to building spaces where people feel seen, heard, and empowered. She is the founder of the Growth Circle, a community for individuals navigating adulthood with a drive for clarity, purpose, and growth. With a background in linguistics and professional training from ALX, McKinsey, GE Aerospace, and Coursera FEM, Anjolaoluwa brings strong communication, leadership, and organizational skills to every project. Her work aligns with SDGs 1, 4, and 8, centering on empowerment, collaboration, and inclusive impact. She is skilled in community management, virtual event planning, content creation, and relationship building. She continues to lead with empathy and a growth mindset, creating purposeful experiences and opportunities for people to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, please let us welcome the global Anjee.
Evening once again. It's so beautiful to have you here, and I'm going to be sharing with you. So let's get right into it. I hope I can be heard. So let's get right into it. Like we know, we're at the evolving. Like we know, yes. So okay, guys, I'm going to be sharing my screen, and we're going to be discussing together about the evolving. So my introduction. So we're living in a time when everybody's evolving, everything is evolving, from technology to leadership, culture, purpose, and calling. And there is the point where there is a demand for what you have to bring to the table. Yes, there's a point where there is a demand for what you have to offer. There's a situational pool or a life opportunity when you have been evolved, when who you have been evolving to is someone to the table. So when that moment comes, will your process have prepared you? Will you fit into the moment, or will you fail to recognize that the moment was made for who you were meant to become? This is at the evolving, the precise moment where your preparation meets purpose, your growth meets demand, and your becoming meets the call to manifest. So, guys, when the evolving comes, where are you going to be? Yes, because your preparation is going to meet your purpose, like I said. And that is just the introduction into what the evolving is about. But before we enter into what that point at the evolving is, let us understand what is the evolution really? Why does it even matter? So we need to ask ourselves, what is evolution? I'd like to see it in the comments. What is evolution? Who is evolving? What are those things evolving? And why is it a necessary thing? Why is it a necessary thing to do? So what it is to evolve, as we know as we have said before in our previous webinar, is transformation that comes from adaptation. So transformation through adaptation. The word evolve originates from the Latin word which means evolver, which means to unroll, unfold, reveal, or develop naturally to an higher state. Evolution is the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. It is not just change or transformation that comes from adaptability. It is progressive transformation over time towards a better, more refined version of what used to be. But let us be guided, because even with evolution, there could be downsides to it, but let's still stick with the positive aspect of this. So evolution is not limited to science or technology or biology or whatever. It happens in technology, happens in society, happens in mindset, skill, value, and even our spiritual lives. So guys, stick with me. So let's look at the types of evolution that we are experiencing today. But first, we begin first with the biological/human evolution. You know how that we are taught in social studies about we being Homo sapiens, and they taught us how we grew from the ape, to evolve till we become straight humans. So the scientific theory that explains how humans and other organisms have changed physically over time to adapt and survive. So this form of evolution is slow, but thank God it happened, because why would this be that we'll not be in the shape of an ape or what? But it really reminds us that adaptation is core to existence. I don't know how many of us remember Mr. Niger D. Mr. Niger D. Well, adaptation is part of what we have to do as humans. It's part of our characteristics as humans. So Next type of evolution we are experiencing today is the technical and technological evolution. You can see it. We are literally breathing it. We are living it. We're living that life where technology has evolved into what it is today, where life has been made so much easier. And people that have been able to move with it are able to move. There are people that are still condemning it, saying, this is from the pit of hell. They are still living in the past. So we've gone from the Stone Age, where people use tools, they use fire to just get themselves going, to adapt, to survive. We've gone from there to agricultural age, industrial age, information or digital age, and now we're entering the intelligence age. Or did I say we're entering? Well, that's because the AI is still evolving and it is still going to be much more than what it currently is. And now, this age we are is an age where data, creativity, and adaptability are currencies that are needed. So, guys, if you don't know how to adapt, if you've not been able to start developing yourself yet, I think this is the right time to start looking inward to develop. So, on to the next. We have the mindset and personal evolution. So whether or not you know it, even as other things are evolving, your mind also has to evolve because you cannot continue in the mindset you had in the past. I think there was a point in time when, okay, let me just bring this illustration into it. I don't know how many of us are in these shoes, but me, I found myself in that shoe where I think the point where I started working, I started getting like 5K, now 5,000 per month. I think it was my first salary was 5,000 naira per month. And that time I was like, okay, this is something we can still sustain me. And then I got to the point where 10,000 naira, okay, it was still trying. And then I got to the point where Benny, wait with this. And I'm literally at the point where even millions of naira still look so small to me. Because why? Because I've had to like change from that limiting mindset, from that mindset of, oh, this thing is too big. It is only for the limited masses, not for the masses, it's for the limited sect of people. So we need to grow in our thinking patterns, in emotional maturity, in our skill sets, beliefs, and in our character. The old beliefs and methods we use may not serve us in this current age. Imagine I still have the mindset that, oh, if I have 100,000, I'm a big person with that. Like, I'm a very big person. Imagine I still have that mentality in this day and in this time. Like, gosh, guys, gosh. So, but there are people that still have it. Sometimes I just sit down and I'm like, wow. And there are people that are earning this kind of amount for the month. There are people that are earning this. So how then are they coping? Because if me, as I am like this, that I don't have too much responsibility, to have responsibilities, this thing is not enough for me. So how then is someone with a family coping with this kind of thing? So guys, we need to also understand that there is mindset and then there is personal evolution. And we're literally going to be big on this. So on to the next, we have the spiritual evolution. And the spiritual evolution is a place that's deepening our awareness, alignment, and understanding of purpose. Because you're doing life without purpose or understanding of the reason why you exist, you just tend to live life, you just live life ordinarily. You just live life as someone that just came to life just to fit into the system, just to be in the system and to flow with the system and to die in the system. So spiritual evolution is less about changing what we do, and it is more about aligning the reasons why we do what we do. So why do you do what you do? What is the reason why you do what you do? So spiritual evolution is coming to terms with the fact that there is a reason why you exist, there's a purpose for your existence, there is an essence to you, and then aligning the reasons why you do the things you do with it. So while this is not always spoken about, because the things that are not are usually the loudest, while this is usually not spoken about, it is the foundation of inner growth that influences everything else, because life is first spiritual. Imagine you're just grown, you don't even know you don't know the reason. You don't know the reason why you're doing what you do. There is just this emptiness you would always seek for different ways to feel. I don't know how many of us have just felt like there is something more. There is something more. I cannot just, that point of discomfort. I don't know how many of us are there to at the point where we know that there is something more, but our eyes are not necessarily open to that something more. And I pray that by the reason of this meeting tonight, our eyes will be open to what is more about our lives in Jesus' name. So, why does the evolution matter? Evolution matter at the evolving matters because the world is changing constantly. The world that we are in is not stagnant. Even in the solar system, it is rotating. So the world that we are in is constantly changing, and that is why we need to also change. Our environment is evolving. Evolution is not even optional; it is inevitable. It is something that has to happen. It is something that is definite. It will definitely happen. And it matters because there is a demand on what you have on your inside. What have you been able to process? What have you been able to get out of your process? So you need to ask yourself this question tonight. Am I evolving or am I resisting change? Is my growth intentional or is it just coming by accident? Are you just like the child that one moment you can't reach, you can't stretch your hands to the shelf, and another moment you can find yourself your hand on the shelf, and you don't even know how you were able to get to that point. You're not able to even track your growth. So is your growth just happening by accident or is it intentional? Are you taking intentional steps towards your growth? So have I outgrown some environments, mindsets, or roles? Or, and most importantly, am I becoming the version of myself that can carry what I was created for? Yes, there's a reason to your existence. There's a reason why you exist. So have you been able to come to that point where the version of yourself that you will become can carry what you were created for? So let us continue moving. So you need to recognize where you are in the evolution. And this brings us to the point of at the evolution. At the evolution is a phase. It is a process in time. It is a process in between what we used to be to what we ought to become and what we ought to become. And many of us, like I said, many of us on this in this webinar are in that phase because we are growing people. We know where we are coming from. We know that ah, I am here, but this is not, there is more to me than what I currently am. We know that, oh, you know this popular saying of, oh, I'm not where I want to be yet, but at least I'm not where I used to be. So that is now coming to the term that there is something, and we need to make progress as we move. We need to keep changing, we need to keep transforming, we need to keep being intentional as we move. So it is that in between space between where you used to be and where you're going. You know how God just shows us a glimpse of where we are going, but it doesn't show us the journey. So it is the journey to your becoming, to the place of becoming. It is the journey to the place where you've even been created, you've been made to exist in the first place. So it is not the start, neither is it the finish line, but it is the place of becoming. It is the place of process. So what are you doing in your process? What are you doing in this phase that you are? Many of you are in school and you just feel like the only thing you have to do as a student is just to read your books. I'm telling you, yes, that's your primary purpose for being in school, but you're getting it all wrong. You're not doing the right things. If you think that is all there is to you, then you need to sit down and think again. So many times it is the most uncomfortable and yet the most powerful phase of growth, because it is the decisions you're able to make in this phase that is able to project into what you're becoming. It is what is able to become the outcome of what you're becoming. So what are you putting in to your becoming? What are you putting in that will bring a desirable outcome? Then why does this point matter? So the danger is not just in not evolving, it is you not recognizing where you are. It is you not recognizing the face you have. It is you just choosing to live life as it comes. It is you just choosing to live life as it goes. It is you not recognizing the point you have. It is you not being able to recognize the season you have. So most people only realize they've grown when they see that they are able to react differently to things that used to trigger them. When what they've only learned to do is to develop coping mechanism or to develop thick skin around it. So they think they've grown when they're able to handle challenges that they once ran away from, and they think they've grown when they're able to speak in rooms where that they once felt invisible in. Well, awareness is very key. If you can recognize the face you are right now, you can navigate it with clarity and confidence. And me, I know the face I am, and I know that it is a building face. So I am not going to skip my process. I am not going to skip my process to get to the place where God has already ordained. I will not rush out of process. Yesterday I was just washing clothes, and then the Holy Spirit just began to speak with me. And this is why it is very important for you to have a relationship with the Holy Spirit. It's very important for you to have a relationship with God. So I was washing clothes yesterday, and all of a sudden I was going to dry my clothes, and then where I just saw a big, fat, gigantic spider came out of nowhere. It just came, and why? What is this one doing here on wet ground? Like the floor was literally wet, and it's an interlocked floor, and the floor was wet, and I saw this spider, and in my mind, I'm like, should I kill it? Should I not kill it? Should I kill it? And then I was going to kill it. I was going to not kill it. So I just decided to place my feet on top of it. Like, I didn't even exert pressure. It was more of me staying in between the kill it or do not kill it. I just wanted it to faint so that it to come back to life and move away. So I placed my leg, my feet on that, and as I removed it, I saw that the spider was there. I was like, what's going on? Why did you die? I did not even exert pressure on you there. So why did you die? What happened? And the Holy Spirit began to speak to me. He said, this is how many people they appear to be mighty, but when the weight of the world comes, they get crushed under it. This is how many people appear, then disappear. So trust me, nobody wants to be in that place. And then I was going to dry my clothes. When I wanted to go and spread the clothes, finally, I was moving, and then there's like yeah, there are plants, these decorative plants on the barbed wire in the compound. And as I was moving, I just saw that I saw a beautiful butterfly on that plant. It was sucking nectar from the plant. And then I picked this butterfly. I'm a very curious person when it comes to things like this. I picked this butterfly up and I said, let me even look at this. Like, it was black and white, now my favorite color. It was black and white. I was looking at it that okay. But and then I was blowing breeze. You say flap your wings and try to fly. Now you say show struggle, show resistance, and all of those things. And this butterfly did not do like that. So I decided to okay, let me just keep it back. And then I kept it back at the spot where it was. This butterfly remained there. It remained there. It kept on doing what it was doing. Sure, if it's normal people, are you not supposed to run away from that? If you are thinking correctly, are you not supposed to run away from that place? And then the Holy Spirit ministered to me again that when you are able to draw from the source, a man's way, the person told me what, when a man's way pleases the Lord, it causes even his enemies to be at peace with him. And then I went back to that spider again. Maybe this thing look like giant. Why did he die like that? And even me as life trouble, I was blowing it just for it to leave. But this thing did not leave that point. It did not leave that point because it was in a source and it was working in purpose. It was doing things purposefully, and that is why it did not leave that place of assignment. And even me, that was the enemy at that point, I was at peace with it, and I just kept observing. I kept looking at it. And then Holy Spirit began to speak to me again. And from that point, I broke down in tears. I said, God, may I not rush out of process. May I not appear all of a sudden. So you need to be able to recognize the phase you are. You need to be aware of the phase you are, the point you are. Because I see many people that, the next thing for you is just you're thinking about money, how you want to make money. And you're literally skipping out that you need to first of all build value for yourself. Then you need to be able to give that value. Like to first seek to give value before you hope to even receive something. So many people just want to skip the process. They just want to make money straight up. And this is because the system has been able to condition and wire your mind to these things. So many people now think that, the next thing after school, because of the systems, obviously, that after school, this is what the next, social conditioning, there's been social conditioning. And so we think that, when this thing doesn't happen, life has ended. Or that point in time when we wrote Jam and, Jam was jamming people, jam me once, That time when Jam was jamming people, and you know, said, what is wrong with my life? When that point, those points were points we were supposed to, okay, what can I do at this point? What can I learn in this moment? What can I do at this point? And people will they just stay wallowing, they just stay mopping, they just stay mourning the process. They just stay mourning that phase. And this is not something that anybody should do. You should learn to utilize your seasons. You should learn to utilize your seasons very well. What can I do? What can I do in this season? Okay, this thing is not working fine. So now I want you to ask yourself, is this a season that is stretching? Is it one that is stretching me, or is it just me being stagnant? Like how I knew that some people when we finished school and NYC wasn't forthcoming because there were delays in our NYC school. Many people were just like, they are not doing anything, they are waiting for NYC, waiting. I was hearing that thing a lot, and I became angry that why are people doing this to themselves? That why are people waiting for NYC? Why are they waiting? Like I kept questioning because, and I mean that it's very, very serious with school. Now people were surprised. How would you be saying that kind of thing? That people who thought that they literally thought I had an extra year because I didn't go for NYC since 2023, and they were like, are you sure this your daughter did not have extra year? They were telling my mom she was say, mommy, calm down. I think this your daughter came out with a very good grade. Now I'm not gonna blow my horn here, I said this your daughter. I had to even send that the screenshot of my statement when it was out. She still wasn't at peace because the system, there was a breach in what the conditioning is supposed to be. There's a breach, there's a space. But in that space, what did I get to do in that space? So I'm always grateful for that space I've had. I'm always grateful for it because I'm like, God, thank you for this period of break. Thank you because I didn't have to carry this on as okay. This is because if I had gone at that point, maybe I would not even be who is taking to you right now. So guys, you need to understand and perform self audits. on yourself at every point in time, because self-audit is very important. If you mislabel your season, you will mishandle your process. You will just stay stagnant when you're supposed to be building. So, on to the next. These are the signs that you might be misreading your evolution phase. Like we've established, at the evolving is a phase thing. So, signs that you might be misreading your evolution phase is that you feel stuck, and when you're feeling stuck, you don't know that you are even being incubated. Like there is something that must be birthed in you. There is something that the society, that the world will demand of you, that you need to start building capacity for. But many times you're reading it, you're feeling like nothing is happening, and you're supposed to be building in that period because you're supposed to keep that baby and allow that baby to be treated enough to grow. So you're misreading your evolution phase when you feel like you are behind and everybody else is moving ahead of you, but you don't know that you are being prepared in that being behind. Then you feel invisible, but God is hiding you for refinement. He's hiding you so that He can refine you. So many times when I just look at my LinkedIn, I'm like, hey God, what is going on? And one moment it is like this, and I know, I just like, sometimes this thing just creep into your head. We need to learn to counter whatever it is that the enemy is telling us. So on to the next, yeah. There's a shift. So you need to stop asking why is nothing happening. Instead, you need to start asking, what is quietly forming in me right now? What do I have to learn from this? How can I grow from this? What do I need to do in this phase? What do I need to learn? What skills do I need to learn? Where are the places I need to go? How can I build in this phase? Questions like that would help you to shift your mindset from what is not to what is. And these have been things that have been able to help to keep me positive, that have been able to help keep me in a positive frame of mind. I remember in school, there was a time when somebody was asking me, why are you always happy? Why are you always positive? People used to always ask, why positive? Why are you always happy? I'm like, I've learned to stay positive because I have learned to look at whatever is happening. Okay, what is it that is happening? And then observe it and ask, why did this thing happen? Then I pick up the good reason why this happened. And instead of allowing the devil to amplify the negative aspect of it, I hold on to the positive aspect, and my joy is preserved. Because one thing the enemy wants to do is to steal your joy. He wants to keep you busy doing nothing for money. And that's the way we used to isolate you and get into your life. So I just want to put it to you that maybe that thing that looks like a delay, that looks or feel like a delay, is actually development. Maybe you are evolving quietly, and maybe it is time you need to pay attention to it. So there is a version of you that only God can see, and that version is fully formed, fully capable, fully aligned. So you need to ask Him tonight or whenever you can, in your meditation, whenever you're thinking about your life, because we do that most times. Ask Him to open your eyes. Ask Him to open your eyes to see you. Ask Him so that you can partner with Him, because God is a very investor. Is a very, very wise investor. He will not invest in a place that he will not have return on investment, which we know as ROI. If He will bless you, you need to give Him a reason why He will bless you. God bless me so that I can do this. See, it is a transaction when it comes to things like this. He wants to partner with you, but you need Him to open your eyes so that you can know how to partner with Him in seasons like this. So when you partner with Him in quiet seasons like this, it shapes you for moments that your current self is not yet ready for. It shapes you for the moment where you have become. So you are at the evolving. Don't rush it. Don't hate it. Recognize it and prepare for who you are to become. How you show up in this place, the choices you make, what you choose to do with your time, it will show up there when you rise. It will determine how you rise there. And see, like I said before, there's what the positive aspect of evolving and there's the negative aspect of evolving. But we will get to that at the most. Then, so here are the dangers of you being unaware of your season or being passive about evolving. So, like I mentioned before, not all growth is upward, not all change is progress. Yes. In a world that is evolving at lightning speed, awareness is not optional, it is a must, it is survival. You cannot afford to sleepwalk through your shifting season. You need to know where you are. You need to know, and see, you cannot know these things very well if you don't know the God if you don't know the God of purpose. Many people have been clamoring, I need clarity, I need clarity. Clarity will come as you go. It will come as you move in God. But if you're going the wrong direction, say it will just keep getting confusing and confusing. But when you know the God of the purpose and you're walking in alignment with what the God of the purpose has for you, your paths will shine brighter and brighter even onto the perfect day. So here are some things you need to know about the dangers of not being aware. So yes, evolution is constant, but it is not always positive. Evolution will not ask for your permission. No. The world will move with or without you. Those people that are saying that AI is demonic, they will be left behind. You that is think, yeah, I cannot easy. See, something you're supposed to do in few days, you will use like 10 years to do it just because you're choosing to remain behind. Or have you heard the phrases where people will say, oh, a pounded yam is not sweet if they don't pound it. Why do we like struggle? Why do we like the hard life when there have been things and technology to make life easier for us? So, guys, people evolve by design or by default. You can either grow intentionally or drift passively. It is one of the two. And not all evolution leads forward. Some people decline or devolve, becoming shadows of who they used to be or who they are meant to be. So if you're making the wrong choice, obviously you're evolving now, but you're evolving in the wrong direction. But if you're making the right choice in Christ, you're doing the right things, you're becoming better. So without awareness and action, you don't just stay the same. You regress. You will lose your relevance. So guys, on to the next. Stagnation is in an evolving world is equal to decline. So you're in a phase and you just said you're in school and only studying. Do you think that's all there is to schooling? That is a point where you can even find God, find your purpose, begin to work a purpose that you can have a relationship that at the point of the future when there are so many noise and distractions, you can remember who your first love is. That you can remember the face you used to be with him, how you used to love him. You can remember what he has shown you, and you say that where I am is not where I'm supposed to be. That you can have that unsettlement in your spirit that God, this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not what you have shown me. That you can hold on to the promises because you've been able to have and establish a relationship with him while you were in school. And it's not just about this, but in other things, to build skills, build your social circle, connect, network. What are those things you're able to do in school? See, if there's one thing I think I want to go back to school is like that I want to do when I get back to school, if I have to. Anyway, I'm not going back to PSC. But if there's one thing I know that I want to do is to go out more because I live a triangular life in school, but it was very good because I need to understand the face I was. So I want to attend events, networking events, not just anyhow events, so events that would empower me. So remaining passive in a fast-moving world is like standing still on a treadmill. You will end up going backward. Technology is moving, mindsets are shifting, cultures are shaping, changing, even values are being redefined. So for you to stay relevant, impactful, and rooted, you must move with intention. Somebody tell your neighbor, be intentional. Okay. So what happens when you're unaware? Many of you are not aware of where you are. You are still in that confusion, like, God, where am I? But you need to look inward. So what happens when you are not aware? You miss opportunities because you're not positioned for it. You're not able to position yourself for those opportunities. You accept mediocrity because you're not stretched. See, what is required of you is excellence. But when you don't know who you are, you will be a mediocre. You lose confidence because you're not equipped. Most times that's in those things we call imposter syndrome is actually because we've not been able to prepare ourselves for that point that the opportunity came. So you live reactively rather than proactively. And most dangerously of all, you lose alignment with your unique voice, with your unique purpose. So what is the high cost of being passive? When you don't take charge of your growth, society will decide your identity. You will be conformed to the system. You will fit into the box that the society has made. Because we need people that are able to break out and they don't have to conform to what the system have positioned. We need people to think beyond a 9 to 5. We need people to think beyond, if I don't go to school, that means I'm a failure. We need people to start building and start creating because you have the creative anointing upon you. So trend will dictate your direction. Like, when any small thing that come out like this, you are following that. You are just being tossed aside as a baby. You are tossed by every weight of doctor, every wind of doctor. Any small thing that come, you are there. Where will you now be? You are just living a confused life. So insecurity becomes your default. Like you are insecure. Like, do you know the confidence and security you can have when you know the God you are serving? And now you know that God cannot bring he cannot bring rubbish to me. Then you can stand you can stand gallant because you know the God of your calling. And the high cost of being passive again is that purpose will slip through your fingers. Purpose will slip. You will lose your voice. You will just become someone that is just living as a non-entity. So you were not created to just exist. You were not created to just fill space. You were designed to live on purpose for a purpose. So this is your wake-up call, guys. This is not just a nice season to reflect. This is a critical time for you to find God, then find you, because your you is in God. Your you can be found in God. He has written his words about you. There's a volume of book that has been written concerning you and your life, but you need to seek. And when you seek, you will find. So you need to first and foremost find God. And then in the process of finding God, you find you, because He begins to direct, He begins to tell you, do this. You begin to hear the voice loudly. This is the path. Walk in it. This is a wake-up call for you to evaluate what you do. What are your habits? What are those things you do today? They will be determinant for where your future is going to be, or what your future is going to be like. So you need to audit your mindset. You need to reconnect with your why. You need to refocus your energy, because you must grow on purpose, or you will risk being left behind, whether mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Don't be left behind, though. Nobody wants to be left behind. So you should not be contented with being left behind. So don't be the person who looks back and realize they were asleep during the time, doing their own evolution. Don't be those people that will come out of school and be like, oh, how I wish I found God earlier. Oh, how I wish I found God in school. Don't be like the old men that will be dreaming dreams when the young men are dreaming, are seeing visions, because your old men will dream dreams when the Lord pours out the Spirit upon our flesh. So wake up, pay attention, move intentionally. Because purpose is never fulfilled passively. It is pursued, and clarity comes as you move. Don't wait for you to have clarity. Move in God and move with God. The clarity will come. Your path will become clearer and clearer and clearer. It will not show you the next step. It's just like a car that is lost in the dark and you need to move. What you need to do first is to start on the headlamp. And be on the headlamp, no on it. You on your headlamp and you start moving. As you are moving, the path will be getting clearer and clearer. And see, the light is just showing you the next point you are moving. You are moving in faith. And because you have trust in the God of the purpose. You have trust in the one who has sent you. So purpose is never fulfilled passively. It is pursued, and clarity comes as you move. So you're not just growing, you're becoming. This is not just about becoming relevant or successful, it's about becoming who God has designed you to be. Can you see this picture in my slide? Do you see the hand that is just shining the light and the person is walking? Yes, that's a picture of what clarity looks like. And anytime I see that picture, it just reminds me that the path of the just shines brighter and brighter until the perfect day. So real growth is not random, guys. It is not something that will just come accidentally. You have to be intentional. You have to move and build intentionally for it. It is rooted in the will of God. You don't have to shout too much. Even if others do not see or understand what you are doing right now, because you are building with God, they should see the fruit of it. Now you evolve with clarity, with peace, with purpose, and with consistency. Thank you, guys. It was such a beautiful time having to do this video. So let's have it again soon, because we'll do more and more of this. Thank you so much, guys. God bless you.
Powerful session, Anjie. Honestly, you really you really did justice to the topic, and I'm sure many of us have taken a lot of notes. I'm sure we've taken a lot of notes. So there's going to be a Q&A session, so you can just start dropping your questions in the comments. So all of that is going to be tackled. All right. So Angie, well done. Thank you so much for really enlightening us and helping us to understand what it really means to evolve and how we can actually do this. You have truly broadened our horizon through your wonderful session. So we are very, very grateful. Okay. So we're going to be moving right on to our next speaker, and he is already in the house. So I'm going to be reading his bio before we bring him up. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we're going to be bringing up our very next speaker, and he is none other than Dominion Alajemba. So I'm going to be giving his bio. So please pay attention to get a grasp of who our next speaker is. Dominion Alajemba, widely known as Doms Baba, the design bender, is a visionary creative with a unique footprint in the design industry. With 4 years of hands on experience spanning brand design and development, user interface design, and digital storytelling, Dominion has built a reputation for crafting work that looks exceptional and functions with purpose. His design philosophy emphasizes bending Vention, merging strategy, empathy, and aesthetics to create meaningful visual experiences. From leading design sprints to shaping digital ecosystems, Dominion brings a multidisciplinary mindset to every project, drawing from a well of industry insights and a sharp instinct for innovation. As a speaker, Dominion is known for delivering actionable perspectives, demystifying creative processes, and empowering fellow designers to think boldly and bend boundaries. His sessions comprise a blend of practical wisdom, real world lessons, and a passion for elevating the creative community. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let us welcome Dominion Alajemba.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
All right,
Yes,
all
we
right.
can hear you, sir.
So it's an honor being here, and it's I don't even know what to say. Like, but I'm really grateful to um to Angela Global Angie for seeing me fit, to come up as a speaker to share my thoughts, ideas, and perspectives, and you know, talk about some core things that we as creatives need to learn and understand, especially as regarding um, evolving work with code and creativity. Yeah. So trying to bring my slides up, but basically um I believe that tonight's session would be a very wonderful one, a session that would help people come into the creative what's the word, the creative expressions that they are yearning to come into, and gain all the clarity that they need to gain. So yeah, just give me a minute. I need to um I need to bring my slides up. All right, I want to be sure you guys can see my screen. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so you know, the thing with with the society we are in now is that it's something, it's a society that keeps evolving. The rate at which we evolve is can be frightening, especially when you don't know how to keep up, right? Because one may say, in the days of the early man, all those days before there was tech, maybe one may have not experienced like having to deal with so much um you know trends and new stuff here and there, but actually they had their own things to keep up with, right? So the thing about the current age we are in, you know, tech and AI and all of that is that while it um brings or while it allows you to have access to majority of the information you would need to upskill, this thing where you have information everywhere, this information overload actually poses a problem to a lot of people because, for one, people don't even know where to start from in understanding or dissecting concepts or different things. People don't have a roadmap as to how to navigate life, how to navigate learning a skill, upscaling, or whatever it is. So while the information is available, there is still no clear-cut path on how one can navigate these things, right? So as for us creatives and Christians, well, I will be speaking. Uh, yeah, I'm a designer, yes, but I'll be speaking to creatives. So you can apply relativity to this if you are not exactly a designer, but I believe it will still help you in one way or the other. Yeah, so okay, let's get into what we have for today. So I will just do a brief introduction of myself before we dive deeper. My name is Dominion Alajemba, and I am thrilled to be here. Yeah, my brand name is Domus Baba. I'm a creative designer or brand designer. And yeah, when I was speaking with the other speakers earlier today, I told them I'm not just a designer, but any other thing that has to do with visuals, yeah, and brands and all of that, right? So yeah, I have been a designer since well, I started designing after the lockdown. That was when I found something that called me to design, right? So when Angela was speaking, she made mention of the fact that when you are in school, you are not just in school to just read book, that there are other things you can achieve. And that struck a chord, right? Because I can relate to that. Yes, me as a student, I didn't just go to school to learn. I found some aspects of my purpose which involves design, right? It was when I was in school that started to um I started to have a thing for design. I started to have this um not just a passion but a calling to design, yes. And it has blossomed from then on. So yeah, it was not like something I did not know everything from day one, but she was saying don't wait for clarity, start, and clarity would come. I can relate to that because I did not see the full picture of what design was going to be, or what it was going to be like, or the role that design would play in my life, and how I would use design to help others. I didn't have all of those answers. In fact, I was just doing design for, I would say, a different purpose entirely. And looking back, it has been, I don't know the word or the adjective or whatsoever to use, but I would just say it has been one thing that God has used. Yeah, yes, I'll just stop there. So yeah, so you can connect with me on X. My username is my username is displayed on the screen, and then on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, so moving forward to what we have today. So these are the five subtopics we will be dealing with today. I'll just these are just this is just the outline, but we will be diving deeper into this as we progress. And yeah, before I go forward, the topic that we'll be talking about or dealing with tonight is the evolving I, right? Designing for impact in a visually driven generation. I'm sure you can relate to this because I believe everyone on this call is on Instagram. I didn't say TikTok because not everyone is on TikTok. For one, I'm not on TikTok, but I believe everyone is on Instagram. Even if you're not on Instagram, you're on TikTok, right? I mean, right? So yeah, you guys are already agreeing with me. So yeah, so the thing is that this generation relates most with visuals. We relate the most with nowadays. Not everyone has the patience, the time, or whatnot to read text. Either you are reading it out to them with an AI, a voice AI, or you are watching a video or a reel or something. It just has to not be text. Like nobody really has the patience to read text nowadays. Even if you are going to read text, it's going to be a very, 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 very summarized version of the entire thing. Right. So I'm sure you guys can relate to that. So what we are looking at today is how to design, and not just design, but design in a way that would create impact, that would leave a mark. Because when we are talking about impact, let's look at it from the literal sense. Um, when two vehicles on the road collide, we can say that this car, we can say that there was an impact. Something hit something, and when there is a separation, we can see that one part of this car has entered inside, or this one has smashed, or something. That is impact. But bringing it to what we are talking about now, it's leaving a mark. It could be positive, it could be negative, actually. But in this case, it's leaving a positive mark, a positive difference, a positive addition, contribution to a generation that is fixated or is driven by visuals. Yeah, so you're not just designing to just design and for people to shout, "Oh, this is crazy, this is nice." What is your design doing? Right. So let's go um into what we have for tonight. Yeah. So the first sub point is trends versus timeless design. So I know I may be running, but we have an allotted time, and I need to do justice with the time I have, right? So, um, and Jola also, she mentioned something about trends, and like, I'm so happy she got to speak first because there are a number of things she mentions that I don't even need to hammer on again because she has already done justice to that. I'm sure we can all relate to the fact that almost every month there are some trending things online. Either it's a dance challenge, or it's one song by so and so person, or it is a slang or something. Do you get? There was this time, I think it was last year that or early this year, that there was this song that was trending. Miracle must follow me, I no go green, you know. And then like different trends here and there. Like, so this these trends come, and if you notice, if you are observant, these trends don't last. Like, I don't think there is any trend, even when it comes to fashion trends like hairstyles, outfits, combinations, or different things, you know, or even the choice of devices or automobiles or different things. There are no trends that like last so long. At most a couple of months, and then we move on to the next thing, because we humans, we find it hard to focus on a single thing for too long, right? Because when something flashy passes by, we reroute our attention, we shift our attention to that new flashy thing, and then when we get used to that or that thing and something else passes, we also move to that thing. So it's a never-ending circle of moving and moving and moving and not staying in a place. So the thing with trends is that trends are seasons. A trend is a season. It's not something that would last for too long. So as a creative, as a designer, yes, it is very good to hop on trends. You can use trends um to grow your brand, or do some. There are some benefits that come with maximizing trends, right? But then I see that there are some creatives who build on trends. And the thing is, these things come and go, they come and go, they come and go. So sometimes when that trend has gone, that your message may not, or that thing you did may not be as useful, or as I'm looking for the word. That's whatever it is you created may not be as needed or relevant. Yes, the word is relevant. It may not be as relevant in a new trend season compared to when it was released, right? So there are some kinds of, okay, in the design industry, it depends, okay, depending on your niche, right? There are certain trends that we are seeing everywhere now. If it's not, it's either this Airbnb themed icon style, or AI stuff, or 3D this or that. And while these things are good, it's not recommended that one dwells on these things, right? So the what you should do is to ride the wave, like make it, maximize that season, use it, learn what you need to learn. It is very important, especially as creatives, because some clients have certain tastes. They want you to do something that they have seen somewhere. It may be from a trend, even if that trend is not in vogue at that point. But um, you know, it's for that reason, it's actually important, not just that reason, but other reasons as well. It is very, very important to learn um or understand or know how to flow in these trends, so that when they are past, and even when they are there, whenever an opportunity arises that demands that you use whatever it is that trend came with, you can deliver, right? But when we are looking at trends versus timeless designs, um it's best to not dwell on trends. Take what you need to take from there and move on, right? Timeless design involves a, a, a core understanding of how principles work. So this is not tied to just design, like I said earlier. This is also to other creatives, right? So you are not just, like I like it's written on this slide. Timeless design is rooted in principles. A firm understanding of how these principles work, how you can use them to get results, how you can employ them, the ins and outs, the do's and the don'ts, because even sometimes these trends violate some principles, right? When you know how the principles or the foundations for in your industry, when you know how these things work, you will be relevant regardless of trends. Like, people know that this guy churns out results. His results are consistent. His results are predictable. We are not thinking, we are not asking ourselves if he can deliver today or not. He can deliver anytime, any day, because he knows what to do. He has a firm understanding and an a firm foundation when it comes to so and so. So it's not just about trends or this or that. He knows exactly what he's doing. So, as creatives, it is really, really important, because the thing is that trends would come and go. Yes, get what you can from these trends, but don't lay your foundation on these trends, right? So relating this to the work that Christ did, you know, I believe if Christ was in our generation, yes, he would not be someone that would kick against AI or kick against technology, or all of those things. Rather, he would learn how to use these things and maximize them to push the work of God, to push m- ministry. So, as creatives and as Christians, it's important that you know that what you are doing is not just your work. It's not just something that brings food to your table. It is also a ministry. Yes. I don't just see design as something that puts food on my table, or something that brings me into rooms. I see it as a ministry in different from different perspectives and different phases. Yeah. So you know, I believe Christ would know, or he would have a solid understanding of how technology works, of how AI works, and how he can put these things into use to reach more souls. Because if Christ was in this age, oh my God, I believe he will be the most followed person on any social media platform. Not just because he has entertaining videos, but because he is riding on the waves that these things um bring, the opportunities these trends bring, and he's maintaining his stand on um his principles and his goal, why he's here, and he's using these trends to amplify his reach, to amplify the results and the impact that he is creating, and the results he's supposed to generate, and all of that. So yeah, so I think I've said quite a number of things on these trends. Let's go over to the next slide. So the next slide is on visual storytelling for purpose-driven brands. So first of all, what is purpose? And Angela talked about this when she was speaking. You know, it's important for us to okay. So purpose is a continuous thing. It's not a one. It's not a one-off thing. Purpose is not something you just get at once and you run with it. As time goes and as you grow, as the seasons change, your purpose also um I wouldn't say change, but it's your purpose evolves. Yes, that's the word. Yes. So, there are some brands. Well, I'll just use the word brands, yeah. So there are brands that are just there to just be there. Catch crews and all of that, entertainment, post funny videos, memes, and all of that. And it may look like, okay, these people are just there, they are not really doing much, but that's actually their own purpose, right? And then you, as a creative, whether you like it or not, you have your own brand. You have your own brand. Your church is a brand. There is, as long as it is an entity, um, or something that exists, it has a brand attached to it. Gary as a food has its brand. People perceive Ijebu Gary as slappy and all of those things, right? I've not really eaten it so much, so I can't really say. But then, you know, there is someone can confidently and like, you know, dissect the difference between Ijebu Gari and Benin Gari, or this Gari, the difference between white Gari and yellow Gari, this and that. You know, these things, in as much as they may look like it's nothing, these objects or these food items are brands. And there is a kind of perception that people already have towards them. So your job as a creative, whenever you are tasked with working for a brand, whenever you have the opportunity and the privilege to work on a project or something, you know, your job is to shape the perception of that brand positively. So Global Angie is a brand, right? If I was to work with her as a designer or maybe a video editor or whatever capacity, I would every content I churn out, every content I produce is aimed at making people to see her in a certain light, see her as someone who understands how clarity works, how purpose works, and how all of this ties to ministry and all of those things. My content or the designs or videos I create for her, it may not seem like much, but um there is something that people can just um pick or yes, the word pick from these things unconsciously. Yeah. So you are not just designing to just design. You are not just creating content. You are not just managing that account to just respond to comments and all. You are not just creating videos or drawing art or writing just to write, but to shape a perception, to change a perception, to help people to understand a person, a figure, a matter, or something in a better light. So for me as a designer, I take my brand very seriously, right? And recently I've been I've I have learned that I even need to take it more and more seriously. Everything I put out there goes out for a reason. My pictures, my whatever it is you see on my X or LinkedIn or whatever it is. WhatsApp is a bit more relaxed, but yes, there are still some things I cannot post. I'm not just posting to just post or to just catch cruise. There is a purpose for it, right? So when it comes to design, exactly like design, yeah, you need to um use design to connect with people, right? Your design should resonate with people. It should touch their hearts. Yes, let me use that word. Right. So it needs to be something that people can relate with. So this can be achieved with a solid understanding of of your niche and what people in that niche are comfortable with or are used to, right? And then you using the elements of design, your line, your space, your text, colors, all of those things to create a unique perception, that people can relate with and at the same time they are amazed by, right? So I don't just design to just design. I design so that people can connect with that concept that is being talked about, or that idea that is being, or the message that is being passed across. And then I do it in such a way that they are not just understanding, but they are also impressed by what they are seeing, and they will take their time to go through whatever content that is, right? So you are designing to um you know Because yes, I've talked about purpose, even brands that push out entertainment content, that is still their purpose. Brands that put out spiritual content, all of those things, educative, tech, AI, all of those things, right? That is their own purpose, right? So you as a designer or you as a creative coming in, you need to ensure that whatever contributions you are making to that brand is one that people can relate with. Because nowadays, if I can't relate with something, I wouldn't spend 2 extra seconds on that thing. I would move on, right? And if somehow I am following that person, and consistently or over time I've seen that I can't exactly relate with your content, or I do not agree with your values or your principles or your message, I will unfollow you, right? So you need to ensure that your works um connect with people. People understand what this is. People can flow with it. People can relate with it. You are not just designing to just design and put lights and put um shine stuff, effects, all of those crazy things we designers do. Those things are marvelous, they are good. But then those things should serve a purpose, right? And then secondly, your design should communicate the why of the message. So people when people are scrolling through stuff, and they see something good that makes them to stop, people should need to they need to understand the message that you are trying to communicate and the reason behind that message, right? So for instance, I will give an example. I work with a a, a writer named Ife. And there is a post she puts out at the beginning of every month, which is for trade reviews. Basically, yes, if you are familiar with how Twitter works, you should understand what threads are. So threads majorly for writers, right? So she puts out a post for thread reviews, right? You'd submit your thread link to her, and she would select from the submissions and review a couple of threads and yeah, give feedback. Yeah. So a design that if I'm creating a design, I need to first of all make sure that this design captures attention so that people can even stop in the first place to see what it's all about. And then most importantly, help people understand why she's even putting out such things. So see, she's not just putting it out to just put stuff out because she doesn't have time and because she has so much time on her hands and she just feels like reviewing stuff. No, it's so that she can help people understand how writing works, how to connect with their audience, how to write better threads, how to, just get better at what they are doing. So your design should help. It is the reason that it is the reason for that thing that keeps people. Yes. So for instance, I believe one reason why people follow me, or one reason why people even listen to me in the first place, is because um there is something that they get from me, a form of value or a form of knowledge or something that they get from me, right? That is the reason. So that reason is what keeps them around me. Yes. So if I am to um if that reason is not there, I don't think most people would be there. Maybe not. But essentially your design or your works should also communicate the reason behind that stuff. So for instance, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Eric Guga. I don't know if I pronounced it well, but I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, so once you see his content, just give it like 5, 10 seconds. You would already understand why he is putting out that content. You would already understand the reason behind that video. You get, because he's not just doing that video to just rant or to just talk or to just show that he knows what he's doing or he has found some new words to use in the dictionary or stuff, like 5-10 seconds at most. I don't think you would even say up to 15 seconds. No, you would already understand why this guy is putting this video up. You would understand, yeah. So that is also the same thing your design should should do, right? You are not just designing to just design. You are designing to your design should communicate why. Yes. So let's move on from here. Okay, so I'll speed up. You know, I got to engrossed with expounding on stuff that I forgot that time was ticking. Right, so evolution is something that everyone must embrace, because whether you like it or not, it is something that it is happening. So even if you acknowledge it or recognize it, it is happening, right? So you need to be open to change. Like, you need to yeah. Angie mentioned, she said something around the, you know, are you just growing, or is your growth happening by accident, or is it planned, or something like that? Yes. So as a creative, as a designer, you need to be open to change. You need to grow. You need to take growth like by the horns, right? It's not just enough to be a good designer or a good video editor or a good social media manager or writer. You need to um you need to not just upskill, but like your roots need to go deep and your branches need to spread wide. So I'll just end it with that. You can, yeah, I trust the Holy Spirit to help you guys on that. Oh yeah. So on the slide, it's just like your walk with God, your style matures with experience and revelation. So yeah, for me as a designer, I didn't just, you know, wake up one day and start designing with or as good as I'm designing now. This the current style I'm exploring as a designer, I didn't start with this. I didn't start with, like, I didn't know a lot of things. It was as I kept pressing, as I kept pushing, as I kept doing it, as I kept showing up as a designer daily, like every time. Experience helps me to craft a style. Experience helps me to create one, and not just create it and put a full stop, but a comma, because it's still evolving. And then by re- by revelation, I mean you know, your exposure to with other creatives, with other schools of thoughts, with other perspectives, and also inspiration from the Holy Spirit. There is a lot in as tied to my growth that I can and I will credit to the Holy Spirit. Yes, because there are some things He nudged me to learn or to master or understand that has contributed to the style I am currently using. Yeah, right. So you know, it is important that you don't just stop at creating and they most creatives, before they start doing stuff, they will do some research, they would read other people's works and all of that. And most times if you go through their stuff, you would maybe a writer or a designer, you can still see major traces of other people's stuff in their own. Maybe someone's tone or someone's style of writing or someone's style or approach to design. You can see it reflected in their work. But as you go on, as you develop yourself, you would realize that you've come to a point where you have crafted a unique style, a unique voice for yourself. So growth and evolution comes with not time. I wouldn't say it comes with time, because you can be waiting for time to pass and be doing nothing. It comes with putting in the work, and not just putting in the work, but making sure that you are being fed with knowledge, and like you are tapping into sources, different sources, um, fellow creatives, you are attending seminars, webinars, um, workshops, taking courses, doing stuff, brainstorming with your colleagues, doing different things that would help grow um your your level of revelation. Yeah. So I want to speak on clarity and connection. Yeah. So design is not just to show off, right? You're not just doing stuff to just put lights here and there, because I scroll on IG sometimes and I see some designs that they are good, but there is too much going on. There are too much, like you can barely at a glass at a understand what talking about. It is a lot, like too much is going on, right? Design should be clear, it should like straight to the point, like I said earlier, something that people can connect with. Yeah, so people need to understand what you are saying. Instead of asking questions, your design should hit the nail. So your design should not bring more confusion, but clarity, not just designs, but other forms of creative expression. So yeah, I think this should be the last. Yeah, yes. So this one now is designed as a language of influence. And yeah, so I have a level of influence, and I believe every one of you here also possess a level of influence. So design is like that platform that brought has helped me to wield influence. So if you call for designers in a certain niche or industry, or if you call for writers in this place or that place, at least somehow your name will be mentioned. And that is a level of influence, and that's because of what you are doing, right? So design for me is it's that thing that brings or helps one to step into influence, relevance, and I also see it as a ministry. I mentioned this earlier on. Yeah, so have you ever heard of apostles or prophets in the marketplace? So you're not just a designer, yeah, stuff. Ministry is not just for those that hold the microphone. It is also for we that are going into the world and mixing with everyone else. It is through design that design connects me with different people. It connects me with foreigners, other people that I may have never ever spoken with ever. And then it also gives me the opportunity to bring in different subjects like God, Christianity, and different things. And sometimes it also avails me the opportunity to impact people's lives positively, because through design, I've gotten to know like some really, really, really good people. And I've also been able to contribute in their life and career as well, right? So not just design, but any other creative expression. It is um a podium that raises you into um the sp- the spotlight. Yeah, so it is something you need to leverage as a Christian, as a creative. Yes, so that design is the torchlight that brings light into a dark place. And when you have the torchlight, you need to communicate with it. You can turn that torchlight to your microphone or whatever it is you want to. Yeah, so I'm pressed with time now, so I can't really go too deep into this. But I would end by saying that you know, okay, yeah. So Jesus is like he's the goal, or he's the beginning and the end of everything we do, right? Everything we do should be channeled to him and through him, right? I'm not just designing because I want to design, because design affords me the opportunity to mix with people and also spread the gospel, right? Some people literally do designs that talk about Jesus and different aspects of Christianity. There are lots of designers like that on IGX and different places, right? So design is that tool that can or is as a creative, yes, people should not just see Jesus through your works, but also in your life. I've had people come to me that say, you are such a good person, you are this, you are that, you are this, you are that. It's all because I know someone called Christ. If I did not know him, I will be very honest with you. People will not be able to attest to those things because the flesh, we know how the flesh is, but Christ is that person who brings us into certain realities. And it is through our creative gifts that we can now express those things back to people and back to the world. So, through not just through your works, but through your life, Jesus needs to be seen. And yeah, there is. I will talk on this thing finally before I am done. So today in church, my pastor was talking on. He was talking on a number of things, including healing, and he mentioned compassion. When you have compassion, it stirs up the gift of healing, that healing dimension. So I'm going to apply this to something else. You know, when creatives wield compassion, we can use like compassion to heal the cracks that are in our society because we can readily see those things that need fixing, and with the voice God has given us, we can lend that voice in fixing those things. So you are not just evolving to be a better creative, but you are in doing so, you are because when you are evolving, you are growing, and more people would come to the knowledge of your light and all. That means more people are seeing you. And when you lend your voice to the cause of Christ, to Christianity, it's it does a lot. It brings more people to it is you evangelizing, it is you preaching, and yeah. So I would just not just um focus on evolving, but your evolution should be it should have the goal of me evolving to be a voice that brings that helps Jesus to be seen, right? When people look at me, they can say that yes, this guy, he's a Christian, and if he's a Christian, I think I need to give this Christianity thing a shot. So yeah, I would stop here. Thank you so much, Global Anjie. Thank you so much to the team behind all of this. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak on this platform. And yeah, I'll be sticking around for questions. So if you have any questions, ensure you ask in the comment section or in the chat box so that I can respond when it's time for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dominion Alajemba. That was a really beautiful session. And one of the things you said that stood out for me was that your design should touch the hearts of people. You have to ensure that your works connect to people. Thank you so, so much. So our next speaker is Dr. Bimbo Dayo. Dr. Bimbo Dayo, also known as Beams the SMM, is a veterinarian who enjoys helping animals recover their healthy states and serving humanity. With 3 years of experience as a social media manager, she has helped brands share their stories and reputable online presences that make them stand out in the digital crowd. Through training and mentorship, she empowers social media managers to refine their skills and monetize their expertise. She is the founder of the Social Media Managers Haven. Please can we make welcome our next speaker, Dr. Bimbo Dayo. Dr. Bimbo Dayo, please can we have you?
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, ma'am.
Okay, all right. First, I want to say a big thank you to the global Angie and the theme for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. And thank you for being here. I mean, for you to be here by this time, it means that you know that, okay, there's something valuable you're coming here to learn. And, you're also giving up your time. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dominion. And Angie, I learned a lot from your session. Okay. So, I've been introduced. My name is Bimbo Dayo, yes, and everything Ife said is right. So I don't want to take so much time. I want to dive in so that we can finish on time. So the next topic given to me is, now this applies to everybody. Yes, I know I'm a social media manager, but then this social media is a platform everybody can use it, whether you're a social media manager or not. So the next topic is, how can you stay relevant in the ever shifting social media landscape. I mean, today you hear that, for example, Instagram. Today you hear that, oh, Instagram, I should post more of reels. Oh, I should do more of this. It keeps changing. How we started with this platform is not how it is now. But you as a person, how can you stay relevant, and how can you adapt? I'm glad that Angie laid the foundation. So let me go straight to the point. Relevance. What does it mean to be relevant? To be relevant means to be significant, either in a specific field, or to be valuable. That's what it means. You are so significant to be ignored. Your words are just too, it's too weighty for people to just let it slide. But kindly note that relevance is not about being everywhere. It's about being consistently valuable. So you don't really have to be here, you don't really have to be there, you don't have to be everywhere, right? You just have to know where you have been assigned, stay there, and keep building yourself and keep being relevant. And to be relevant, even with the changes that we're going to encounter and all of that, you need to be strategic. You need to be yourself. You need to be authentic. You need to be focused, right? So I highlighted few points on how you can stay relevant, right? The truth is that I know that, okay, you have a role from your own end to play as regards being relevant, and I want you to know that it is not entirely all on you, kind of. So you play your part, but I also want you to know the God factor. It is. He said, we usually hear, I'm in search of greener pasture. I want to go and look for, you know, greener pasture. The normal quote. Are we together? Is this something you can relate with? Please, can you react so that I know you're with me? Uh-huh. But he said, it is not, you don't go to look for greener pasture. It is what is on you that makes the land green. In other words, it is what is on you that makes you relevant. You understand? It directs how you create your content. It shifts, it talks the way you. There are some content like what Dominion said. That there's when he said about a writer that shares something on thread. When you read some people's content, there's somewhere it is coming from. It is not the regular. Do you get? So it's not just about saying I want to be a follower. Of course, it's good to be a follower and learn from here, but over consumption, you are consuming so much, you have conformed to the culture of the world that you are not even willing to, you know, open up that uniqueness that God has sent you here to, explore or reveal. So again, I'll make my statement. Relevance is not just about being everywhere, it's about being consistently valuable. I know that all of us here, at least even if you have not opened all the accounts, you might not have Instagram, Facebook, X, Thread, and all of that, but at least you have one account, right? Maybe Instagram alone, or maybe you're a Facebook person, and all of that. So, the first point on how you can stay um, relevant despite the change is that you have to understand who, like, you have to understand the people you are sent to. You have to understand your audience. Yeah, let me borrow the SMM part here. You have to understand your audience inside out. It doesn't mean that you are only posting just anything. Do you get? You have to understand the people you have been sent to communicate with. When you understand them, okay, for example, now, if I'm doing something related to teenagers, I have to communicate in the language that teenagers will understand me. Or if I have a brand that has to do with just ladies, there's a way I will limit my communication to what ladies can relate with. Do you understand? So if you're going to be relevant to this person, you have to understand the language, how you're going to communicate, or what they understand. And for you to do that, it means that you're not just going to be stagnant with knowledge. It means you keep learning. You have to stay curious. You want to study them. You want to know, okay, this is what works. Like, this is what they are struggling with, and this is the solution I have, and this is how I can communicate it with them. If somebody is having a problem and you are able to communicate a solution for that person, you have made an impact. Now, the theme for our webinar, this webinar says at the evolving. It means, see, as you're rising, as you're evolving, I want you to know that it is possible to keep rising without losing your essence. Yes, of course, virality is good. This stuff is trending. Yes, sometimes we can take advantage of this trend and want to create content. But just like the minion said, it's not all trends that it doesn't last. But let me tell you, people crave for your realness. They want they want to hear about, like, you. What makes you you? Be authentic. See, no matter what you want to share, I don't know the kind of content you create. See, never lose your essence. Stay true. There's something that makes you unique. Don't say that, okay, because the global Angie is creating content on community building and she's getting engagement. Me too. Let me go and start creating content on community building. Maybe I'll also get engagement. That's lack of focus. It means you don't even know why you opened the account in the first place. Know why you are there. Know the message you are taking there and stay consistent. Focus. Don't crave for virality, or don't crave for the need to want to trend to the extent that you forget the main purpose you are here, which is to pass a message. Do you understand? So, are we together? Are we together? Yeah, this the main point I made. 2 points now. Number one, I
Yes,
said you have
ma'am.
to understand you have to understand the audience. Secondly, I said you can rise, you can grow without losing your essence. Meaning, you have to be authentic. There's see, I work as a social media manager, and I have other people that work with me. And if you generate a caption with AI, I will know. You can't fake it. I don't know if you can relate to, but there's a kind of content that when I see, it's too AI-ish. Permit me to use that word. It's too AI-ish that it's not relatable. I can't relate. Do you have such experience? Can you detect if you see something that is AI? And it's not just, you just pass because it's not it. In as much as AI is important, it is a tool that you can use to, yes, it makes work easy sometimes. It helps you to come up with ideas, you can brainstorm. But do not depend so much on AI that you lose you. So, um, the next point, I'm rounding up. Nothing much. Yeah, so I want to talk about I've spoken about your authenticity. I want to talk about you have to prioritize community over virality if you want to stay relevant. Yes, I know the algorithm rewards engagement and all of that, but you see, genuine community sustains growth, right? It sustains growth. So try to build a community around what you do. Prioritize community, please. Also, I want to talk about um social media. We have many platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, X, and all of that. When I only started with Instagram. I decided that I was just going to stick to Instagram and master it before going to another platform. Yes, I have basic understanding on how other platform works, but my major focus is usually on Instagram. So the reason I'm saying is this is that okay, yeah, I know that you might have just one platform that you are growing there or you're sharing content with, but do not limit yourself to just one platform. You need to diversify your presence, but don't burn out. If you start with Instagram, let's say for example, there was something I did last year. I said I'm going to grow my presence on Instagram this first quarter. So I was consistent. I only focused on Instagram. So since my Instagram and my Facebook they are connected, any post I make on Instagram it goes directly. So the first quarter the focus was more on Instagram. And then the second quarter I was like, okay, now I want to go with X. I want to explore X and see how it works and share content there. It was just more like I was repurposing the content, but I didn't want to limit myself to just the Instagram I started with since 2020, I'll be 2022. So your presence needs to be felt. I need you to picture this. Picture um, a man in a battlefield. They use arrows, right? The quiver is usually on their shoulders with different arrows, right? And then if this man sights the enemy, all he has to do is just to set his arrow and he's about to just shoot. Now, because they have so much confidence in the arrow, they know that I don't really have to be there. All I have to do is to send the arrow there. See, do not conform to the culture of this world. You are a tool in the master's hand. God has given you these platforms to pass a message across. You are like that arrow. He knows that I don't have to be here on earth or I don't have to be on Instagram. I have Ife there to be on Instagram for me. I have Angie there to be on Instagram for me. So your craving is not just because I want to get followers. I want engagement or I want plenty. I want to trend. That should not just be your goal. Focus, right? So, sometimes we usually mistake. I'm rounding up now. We mistake fame with purpose. Does it mean that is fame really a yardstick for fulfilling purpose? Does it mean that if I'm not trending, I'm not fulfilling purpose. No. There are many instances in the Bible. Let me borrow just one story and then I'll round up. Um, there's this woman called Jael. I don't know. I just love her so much. Jael. She was not as popular or known the way we know of Moses or the rest of them, but she was a housewife, ordinary housewife. So the Israelites were already suffering, and then God told them that okay, God spoke to Deborah that and Barak that okay, this is it, this is how they are going to destroy King Jabin, who had more like I think he was like the main enemy why they were not progressing. Now they have followed. I'm just summarizing this story. They have followed this man, and that's the main army. Okay, how will I explain it now? In Nigeria, when we talk about um, chief of the armed staff, he's the person in charge of all the military personnel. He reports directly to the president. So the that's how this particular character is Caesarea. So it was more like they were chasing him, right, to destroy him. But somehow he ran away. And then, as God will have it, he came to Jairus' place. And I don't even know how she was able to stay updated with what was happening. And it was through her that the whole back and forth was able to come to an end. She was not on the pulpit. She was not popular. She was not trending. Did she fulfill her purpose? Yes. I am sharing this story because so that you don't see fame as a yardstick for fulfilling purpose. That's not your goal. You don't just chase after trends. You know that you have an assignment and you just stick to that using the platforms you have. Thank you. That will be all from me. Thank you so much, Angie and the team, for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bimbo Dio. Thank you so, so much. For someone who is trying to grow in their word, I took down many points. Thank you so much. One point that stood out for me is that it is what is on you that makes you relevant. And we're not even meant to conform to the standard of this world. Social media is a tool that we are all meant to use. So thank you so, so much. That was a really beautiful session. So calling on our next speaker, Prince Kings. Prince Kings is a forward-thinking branding expert with a passion for helping people and businesses show up boldly, intentionally, and unmistakably in a crowded world. He is known for transforming raw ideas into authentic, unforgettable brand identities, blending strategy, storytelling, and purpose. Beyond branding, Prince Kings is deeply committed to the self-discovery and personal development of individuals within his sphere of influence. Whether through one-on-one mentorship or large platforms like the Evolving 2025, it inspires others to not just build brands, but to become the kind of people those brands stand for. His mission is simple: empower people to own their identity, grow in clarity, and live with confident purpose. So, with a clapping ovation, can we please welcome our speaker, Prince Kings? Prince Kings, please can we have you, sir?
Everybody. Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me?
yes, we can, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Good
can, sir.
evening.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, the global Angie and the team. Thank you for having me. Um, I I really appreciate, the fact that we are here to rub minds, and trust me, the three sections have been so 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 amazing. In fact, it has helped my work, you know. I'm not just going to do much again because they have said a whole lot that is. Please, can we hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
sir.
hear you. We can
Hello,
hear you.
can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, we can, sir. We can, sir. Just go on.
Okay, okay. Because I'm having network. I cannot connect it. Okay. I'm finding it difficult to connect my system so that I can share this. I can share my screen. Um, but oh my God. But I'm just going to talk. When it responds, then we'll just continue from wherever we stopped. So thank you from Angie to Mr. Um, to Mr. Dominion, then to Dr. Beams. Thank you so much. Mr. Dominion did a whole lot. Is a design colleague, like, and I love the presentation of how he talked about evolution with respect to designs and how Beams was able to tell us evolution with respect to social presentation and how you show up socially, yeah, your media platforms. Okay. Now, my theme for today, what I'll be looking at, at this meeting, at the evolving, is becoming the brand, evolving identity with purpose in a changing world. Evolving. Can we hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Please, can you hear me? Hey, God, do. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Please, if you can hear me, can I get a reaction? Okay. Is it, oh, okay, okay, okay. Thank you. So what we're looking at today, shortly, is becoming the brand, evolving identity. Okay, okay, thank you. Evolving evolving identity with purpose in a changing world. As we know, the world is changing. The world is evolving. It's going from one phase to another phase. It's not stagnant, and only people that can survive, in business, in whatever you do, whatever value you give out, people that can survive the test of time and still dominate in whatever industry they find themselves are people who have learned to evolve, people who have evolved in accordance with the needs. You see, I didn't say with the trends. I'm talking about evolving with respect to the needs because I don't just want us to see evolving. I think Mr. Dominion did a very good work there by dissociating evolution from trends. You get trends are short-lived. They are not they are not long. They don't have a long lifespan. You see, but what I'm going to be looking at evolution from is the aspect of profiling solutions, to problems. So we are evolving based on the needs that are available, the needs that are there to be met. However, I'm going to be coming from the angle of identity. So I would start by I wished my slide this network my system can connect so that I'll just share this slide. It will be much more easier for me. But I just chose to have a mind of its own today. It's well. Um, so let us continue. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Okay. So first of all, I'll be looking at the meaning of identity. From the theme given to me, evolving identity with purpose in a change. There are two words that I have to explain. I have to talk about so that we'll get a
perspective and would know how we fly with it. First is identity. Now, identity is a distinctive quality or core trait that makes an individual unique. Now, I'm talking to you as a person. Your identity is that feature, those features um, of your personality that makes you stand out, that makes you distinct, that out of the crowd, there's a way you respond to things, there's a way you react to things, there's a way you see things, there's a perspective you see things, and this can be shaped from different factors shape this, but all together they form a kind of person, a quality of person, and that can be put together as one, as your identity, your core traits that makes you, that makes you actually an individual. When you talk about individual, it's one out of a lot. You get unique. It makes you unique. It makes you to stand out. These are the qualities. For example, we could go from, we can look at it from the lens of your what's this word, your temperament. Gets, there are ways you react to loud places, there are ways you react to, you can see two similar things, happen to, I mean similar things happen to two different people, and you see the way they react to it. Some people fight back, some people hold their peace, because they are different different kind of people, they are different individual, they have different identity. So having an understanding of identity is very crucial in evolving. But before we go ahead, we are going to look at what evolution is. Now, evolution refers to the gradual and intentional process of becoming a better, more aware, and more capable version of yourself. Now, if you look at this definition, I wish this was projected on a screen. I I um I made some later capitalized. I made process of becoming. That's what of evolution. Evolution is a process of becoming. And what is it? What is it becoming? It's becoming a better version, a more aware version, and a more capable version of yourself. It goes back to the word. Are we together? Can I get emoji to know that we are together, please? Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So it goes back to a capable version of yourself. It now goes back to when we talked about identity, we talked about the individual. Now, evolution is with respect to yourself. So the process of becoming is to the end that it's the becoming is a better of yourself. So it's a link back to yourself. And you know what these two definitions did to me? If you look at the next slide, where I put evolution, and I defined it, or the term I used for evolution was flexibility. Then the second thing I did was the term I used for identity, rigidity. So evolution involves flexibility, and identity involves rigidity. Now you can see these two um opposite word having to go side by side in one concept. Now it's led to to the idea and the conclusion that the perfect flexibility functions from a place of rigidity. Before you can be flexible enough, you can be truly and really flexible enough, you have to be rigid first. Now it talks about the fact that before evolution comes, an identity should be an identity. Explain. Okay, the next part I'll be explaining what this identity entails. There's things that have to also be in place before before you can be given to flexibility, because I see evolution as water. It's colorless, tasteless, and odorless. It's in between. So what's the usefulness of evolution depends on the person that is evolving, because you have positive evolution. I think one of the speakers pointed that out. You have positive evolution and you have negative evolution, because evolution is like changing, it's transforming into another character, or into another personality from the one you are actually are. So evolution in its stem can be dangerous and it can be, of benefit. It depends on the person evolving. It depends on the person, and it depends on the knowledge this person have. Now, the next slide talks about questions to ask in ascertaining identity. Questions to ask in ascertaining identity. I think I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, it's still giving some issues. Question to ask in a certain identity. The first question I have here is, who am I? Who am I? In identity, when you want to stand out, when you are talking about owning your personality, first question is, who am I? What are my strengths? What exactly? Who? There's one thing. There's something we usually do those days. I and my brother. You will bring a paper and a pen and write out, who am I? What are my possibilities? What can I do? Now, this is not, because most times if you ask this question, someone would be like, nothing, because maybe I don't have any skills that I have to offer, or I don't have. It's not now this question being answered is not based on the skills you have, it's not based on, it's based on your possibilities. Who am I? I talk. I'm a talkative. Put it. I see, because I am someone that is okay. You can say I'm a talkative. Let's bring out the roughest kind of things. Okay, I'm a talkative. I love arguments. I smile a lot beyond control. I love food. Bring out these things, and you start from those simpler ones, then you go to the deeper ones. So who am I? If you check even the wrongest of persons, we are used. If you check through the scriptures, you see it's not even really 100% perfect people. Even the wrongest of persons, we are transformed, evolved into something. And if you notice, they still maintained some portion of that. You see what God does. God does not entirely changes who you are, your identity. His transformation is going to be usually with respect to the person you are. If you look at the story of Paul, Saul to Paul, Saul evolved. Let's put it that way. Saul evolved to Paul after an encounter, and God still kept that choleric. If you know what who cholerics are, temperament. Yeah, if I go into that, I may deviate from what we have on ground. If you look at Paul, Saul was a very aggressive man. He was a man that can go and on his own single-handedly pick single-handedly pick letters. Coming. Okay. I think, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
No, sir. It's not displaying.
Hello, are we still here?
Hey, yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen? It's not
I'm
displaying.
here.
Okay. Is it displaying now? Okay, it's displaying. Okay, okay. But is the screen displaying? Can you see the screen? Okay, no, no, no. You cannot see the screen. Okay. Mm, Let me just continue. Okay. I'm talking about, okay, who am I? I'm talking about Saul. Saul was violent, aggressive and all. But you see, for the quality of work Saul and Paul was to do, we need that violence. We need a dogged and a stubborn person to be able to do some of the things, you do. So for someone to make a statement, to leave is to die is gain, to live is Christ. To die is gain, to live is Christ. For someone to consider life, not for him to do the quality of assignment he did, it has to be someone who can be able to give even his life and himself for the cause, who is so committed and dogged for that. So you see, identity, even when it evolved, that quantity of a choleric, that quantity of being dogged is there. So you should know who you are. You should know, these are my traits, these are my capabilities, these are my possibilities. And the next thing, you should know who you are not. You know who you cannot, because this information or this knowledge will help you to know when you are wasting your time and when you are, places you are to be, things you should look out for, things you should evolve into, and things you should not you should not even think about. You see, when you know who you are not, they cannot bring different things. They cannot bring any, you cannot jump into any ship. You cannot jump into any boat. You cannot jump into anything. Like for myself, this comes to being honest with yourself. I know the stuffs I'm going to function in optimally, and I know the stuffs I won't function in optimally. So this information will guide you in making your choice. The next question to ask to ascertain your identity is, what are my values? What are the things I value? And when you ask values, it's not like you just go and pick the good, okay, honesty, punctuality, this and this. What are the active ones? I know you're aspiring for those other values, but be true to yourself and know the active values I have. What are my active values? Punctuality is a value, but for me, sometimes I would say I fall short of that value, punctuality, because it's when I say value are things that you cannot compromise on. You would not compromise on no matter what. So I can see myself doing a lot of deadline jobs, deadline meeting at the deadline for work. So these, I would not say this is a core for myself, but there are a whole lot I consider core. I consider excellence as core, competence, someone being able to you know do his talk, being able to say I can do this and is able to deliver at that point. That's a value for me. So you should know the values that cannot be compromised for you as a person, and the ones that God is still helping you with. Yes. So with this, you can be able to have some basic understanding of yourself. And when you have this understanding, you'll be able to understand what evolution evolution is. There's one sentence, I mean, one quote that anytime I see there's one quote that anytime I see, my heart you know goes in, like, why? For it, they said the quote is, when a blind man sees, the first thing he let go of is his walking stick. When a blind man sees, the first thing he let go of is his walking stick. Now, my question is, walking stick, why? Why would the walking stick, I mean, after helping you this long, why should I be dumped like that? Now, the reason why a walking stick is let go on off when a blind man sees, because the walking stick did not evolve. The walking stick did not evolve, and the walking stick did not. And this is like an illustration now. The walking stick did not, get to understand his identity well, because the walking stick, in its form, can also serve as a useful item for a man that can see. Evolution is being relevant across dispensation. Evolution entails that you are relevant across dispensation. That when the man is blind, you are useful. When he can see, you are useful. So that is evolution. A man that chooses to be stagnant on just one and stay there for one, the trends, the need of man will change. So evolution is just the need of man changing, and you being able to meet up with evolution is you being able to proffer solution to the current need of man. So the walking stick, first of all, should know what is my identity. So from there, he knows how he can be useful to a man that can see. If you are to even look at the if you are to study the walking stick, you say you see the walking stick on first, to a blind man is supportive, and is able to. And why a blind man can be able to use the walking stick is that it's portable. The walking stick, it's portable, it gives balance, and it's lightweight. It's not heavy. And these possibilities, it's okay, metallic, and these possibilities are the identity that it will still use to be useful to a man that can see. If I want to go further in the illustration, you can use a walking stick. A walking stick can be transformed, can be bent into something that maybe would form the hinge of a door that will be needed for a man that can see. And you see that there are things that walking stick would not fit into because of its identity. Your walking stick cannot be, because of the metallic nature of it. It cannot function as a bed. It cannot be made into a bed that someone should lie down on. So because of his identity, he knows how it can function. He will know the role to play. He will know the role to play when it comes to evolution. So this will take me to the next slide, which is the points to note. The first one is you have a role to play for every season. For every season, you have a role to play. This is a call to Christians. This is a call to us as believers. You have a role to play. You must be in alignment. You should know what to do part time. You should know that there's an activity that is needed for every season. Now, if you look at the story of Moses, there was a time God told him to hit the rock for water to come out, and what he did, hitting the rock, water came out, and God was pleased. But there was a time that what God wanted was not for him to hit the rock, was for him to speak to the rock. So you should understand what role you are to play for every season. So the fact that for evolution to the fact that you spoke to the rock at one time, for the fact that you spoke to the rock at one time doesn't mean you continue speaking to the rock. Because when it comes to evolution, there are aspects you would have to function in. So it must not be speaking, it must not be hitting at a time it will come to speaking. Like a walking stick, to be useful to a blind man, it has to stand. But when a man can see and he has to walk on the hinge, it has to be attached to somewhere. It has to be attached to somewhere. So for evolution, for you to keep up with evolution, you have to understand that you have a role to play for every season. And the next one is, for evolution to occur, you have to have an understanding of yourself. I think I've talked heavily on this identity. You have to have an understanding of yourself. Is when you even have an understanding of yourself, you know the actual role you have to play. Now, if there's a community coming up and we are looking for, want to push things forward, and we meet, we meet let me talk my last speaker. We meet Dr. Beams for how can she be of help to this community, because she have an understanding of the fact that she's proficient when it comes to social media managing. She would not have to hammer too much on what to bring to the table for this evolution to occur. She have understanding that this is where I am. Now what she have to study, what she has to do is now to look into what we want to do and know how to fit in her identity into that purpose. Into that purpose, she know how to fit in her identity. It would be wrong of me to say I'm going to, okay, she may have proficiencies in those aspects too, but because of the knowledge I have that she is a social media manager, I would not tell her to go and operate in another field, maybe as a sales rep or something. She may not be able to do the physical marketing, work to people. She knows how to work strategically from behind the scene, how to plan the social media and how it should go. So because she have an identity, an understanding of who she is, she will be able to know where she's going to function in. Now, the next point is evolution is given to the flexible. Evolution is given to the flexible. One way you can evolve is by studying, knowing what is the need in vogue. I don't want to say what's trending. Get what's trending great is nice, but Mr. Dominion put forward at first. He said trends strengths are like weak smoke. They can weak fire. They can go into smoke like in if before you know it. But it would your contribution would be known. Like your contribution will have lasting impact when it's not just trend, when it's that you solved a problem. So evolution is given to the flexible ones, people that can be able to study. And this is not just studying, it's both introspect, studying internally and studying externally, knowing what can I change, how can I be flexible, what should I do, what should I imbibe to become better, what should I, because see, that walking stick that you're going to evolve, that is going to evolve into the hinge that will help a door for a man that can see, would have to go through some process. It will have to go into through heating. We'll have to go through some, you just have to go to different processes. So you have to be flexible, that when you get a new knowledge that is superior to what you have before, evolution, one that wants to evolve will be able to say, yes, I know this, my what I knew is outdated, that there are new and better ways to do it, because what is changing, and it's only the flexible that can be able to blend into and put his identity into what is being created. Evolution is given to the flexible ability to relearn, learn, unlearn, and what other kind of learn exists. Evolution is given to the flexible. Let me go to the next one. Only persons with real desires to contribute per season can evolve. Only persons with real desire to contribute per seasons can evolve. People that have the real desire to give value can evolve. If you don't have the desire to give value, you will still remain there. If you're a photographer and what you just want is your money, collect your money and go, trust me, your customers will see what is better and would use those people that are better. If you are a designer and you just want to stay where you are, because there's some jobs that comes to, like, I'm a designer too, there's some project that comes to my table and I'm like, whoa, I've not done this before. I will not tell the client, of course. I'll tell myself, I've not done this before. Like, it's enormous. How? I mean, life is like, you see, the world has enabled evolution. There's AI. There are things you can just ask And how do I go about this? How do I go about? Before you know it, they are giving you real-time answers. Although you may not really understand the answers they are giving, but ask it. The AI is not someone it's not a human being that will say, I'm tired, Oga, keep quiet. It will still this. They built it in such a way that it's polite, and it can accept the craziest kind of questions and give response to the craziest kind in a polite manner as possible. So if you have a real desire to contribute, once you see something, once you even see something that is better than the way you present it, you would want to go and study. You say, this thing I'm seeing like this and what I am doing, we are doing the same things, but not on the same level. You would want to, and in seeing that study, there's an evolution that takes place. Not like the designer, or not the whatever skill set you have, that would, anytime a customer makes a complaint, the first thing that come, I better not be my customer, or blah 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 blah, or wanting to bring down the complaint of the customer. See, you are light. You are light, and I wish you can see the value you give from this perspective. Now there's darkness, and the solution to darkness is light. And if you take that as a consciousness in your work here to do, when you discover there's a miscommunication, or there's a gap between the need and solution, you would want to figure out a way. You want to figure out a way. And sometimes this desire to contribute for every season would lead you to collaboration. To evolve, you have to one, let me know. I don't want to make this statement all, let me not, I don't want to make it like it's a must do, but one way to evolve, quickly and faster, is collaboration. In collaboration, there's a share of knowledge. Something you don't know that this person knows, and something I know that this person doesn't know. So when we share the information, you discover that there's a gradual evolution. Then two of us gets, or the team together gets to the top. And these things can happen when when there's a desire to contribute to the season, and so it is also in the spiritual realm, because for every season God has what he's doing for every season. And only men, the only men that can stand to do the biddings of God for any season are men with desire. It's called hunger. Only men with the desire to do something, to contribute. Great men are great by contributions. So when you are even interacting, when you are in a team, when you are in interaction with somebody, business wise, or any function, what should be in your mind as a great man is not what you can get. What you can get, trust me, once you give, once you contribute, what you can get will start following you, because we are meant to function from a place of goodness and mercy following us. Not all what you go after is what you can get. So when you contribute to to a system, the system gives back to you, and in that process, you evolve. When you have a desire to contribute, the way you even take corrections, the way you take criticism of your work would come on with a better hit, and you bring light per correction. Now, evolution is only necessary when it's done with respect to what is needed per time. Okay, I think this has been established from the beginning. That's it's evolution is good enough only when it's done with respect to what is needed per time. What is needed per time, for every time, for every season, there's a thing, there's an agenda on ground, there's a thing needed for that particular time. So when you know what is needed and you have a contribution, you have a solution to what is needed, you evolve. And this will take me to my like a closing remark, which is from the book of Psalms, chapter 90, verse 12. I hope we are together. And it says, so teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. You see, when we talk about contribution per season per time. He said the scripture here talks about teach us to number our days. It didn't talk about counting your days. When you count 18, I think AFL talked about this. So and that's where when it said it, it clicked a whole lot to me. When you say counting, when you talk about counting something, is you just coming randomly and say, okay, how many chairs are here? You just okay, there are 100 chairs. When I tell you to count, you come back to me and say, there are 100 chairs, there are 50 chairs. That's counting. But when I say number the days, you should be able to tell me it's beyond counting. You tell me there are 100 chairs there, and the number 57th chair is a black chair. The number 54 chair is a red chair. So that's when the Bible says teach us to number, that should be a prayer, for it to evolve actually. Because evolution is with respect to the will of God and with respect to purpose. For it to evolve actually, it must be done in alignment with the will of God. It must be done. He said, teach us to number our days. So for every day of your days, there is an activity that has to be done, and that activity, during those activities, you evolve, you transform, because evolution is a process. And trust me, for every day, for every season, there's a process, there's a working that is done in you for you to be that package, that complete package that God would have you to feature him the way he has pictured you to be. So the prayer which I would want to end this this section with is beyond beyond the points, beyond everything I've stated here. There's only one source that can teach you actually how to evolve, and when he teach you, okay, then you now bring it, okay, with this point, this is how to do. I should now find knowledge in this thing, but he have to teach you. You see, it's called teaching. Teach me to number my days, that a man can be able to know that for that you walk with God with in such a way that for this period, this is what God will have me do, and this is how he would have me do it. Because trust me, you have to be as creatives. Like there's one thing I talked on with some friends, I think last week. As creative, you're a spiritual man. Let me not just talk about life. I wanted to say life is spiritual, but I think I have more of creative on this platform. As creatives, you are a spiritual man, because you know what it means to do a logo that doesn't exist, that never existed, but you designed the logo. I mean, you have brought forth something that existed into being. You've called forth, a logo that doesn't exist, a flyer that has never existed before, even if it's something you saw, but exactly it has not been that before. So you came up with it. You are a creative, you are spiritual. So there's a source you can tap from. There's a source you can tap on. There's a source that can teach you how to evolve. And I pray this moment that as you rely on that source, he will give you the wisdom on how to evolve with respect to what he wants you to do per season, per time. God bless us all in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Amen, 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 amen. Thank you so much, Princekings. Thank you so much. And I pray that God teaches each and every one of us to number our days. I pray He give us the grace to walk through this journey in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much, Princekings. That was a very lovely session. So yes, it's finally our questions and answers session. So I have a list of questions here, and I'll be like passing it out to each speaker. So you people like be giving answers to any one of them. So the first question I have here is, how do I keep my values while reaching for my dreams? I think I'll give this to Princekings. Prince Kings, will you please answer this? How do I keep my values while reaching for my dreams?
How do you keep your values while
While reaching
reaching
for my
for your
dreams.
okay? You have have an understanding of your values. Okay, we have an understanding of your values. You get, and
Okay.
ensure that it's solid enough. It's solid
Okay.
enough because for every of your values will not be a limitation to keeping your dream. Okay, evaluate your values too. You know, check whether they are in line with where you are going to. Check whether they are in line with, and if they are not in line, you can realign them. You can realign them to where you are going to, because values, it's more like a support. It should not be a blockade or an hindrance to where you're going to. It's a support. So keeping your values, one way also you can keep your values while aiming from your game is that I'm going to talk about association. There's one thing value does, and I value that is strong enough. That's why I talked about understanding your value first and let it be strong enough, because like terms, okay, I'm not going to there's a collection of like terms with value. You get, when I portray this value, there are people that would come around me are people of this value. So association, you have to be intentional about association, intentional about association even as you go, so that it will not get to a time where it looks like you are lonely. You are lonely as much as possible, even though it gets to that kind of time when you're strong enough you can keep it, but as much as possible associate yourself with like minds. So there's a time when the fire is going low, as maybe your value is, I'm not going to cheat, I'm not going to do this, but there's a time that everybody, the pressure is cheat, 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 cheat. You see, when you have a brother that can see you are tilting towards the way of cheating, he can call you back to your value. So have an account. Association are accountability partners. So those are the things that can help you keep your value even as you ascend to what you aspire for. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so, so much. Thank you so, so much. So I have one more question because we've literally addressed so many topics in this session. So a really beautiful and extensive section. So I'll be taking just one more questions. And this one is, how do I stretch without burning out so quickly? I'll pass this question to Dr. Bimbo Dayo. How do one stretch without burning out so quickly? Dr. Bimbo Dayo, please, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Please, ma'am.
Okay.
How do we
How do I
stretch without
stretch?
burning out so quickly?
Okay. Is there like, okay, the person just asked this question. He didn't give scope, right?
No, no, no.
Okay. Okay. So the thing is this, you know, we are humans, we get tired. But the truth is that you can draw strength from God. That's one way I know that you don't burn out. There are times that you'll be so exhausted, and I tell you, except God helps you, you will just burn out. That's it. And then the question about how can I stretch? Yes. So you see, when you talk about stretching, as far as you are within the lane, do something within the lane that God has called you to do. Don't go and do beyond because you see this person doing it. I'm still emphasizing on what God has called you to do. Do within the lane that He has called you to do, right? When you do that, also understand that you are human. There are times that so most times when you're trying to compare yourself, you're trying to compare your beginning stage with someone's, let's say, growth phase, or maybe somebody's success phase, and you're not trying to stretch yourself so that you reach there within few months. You're just trying to overwork yourself. There will be burnout. So don't put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Do what you have been called to do. within your being and draw strength from God.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. So, I think we've come to the end of our question and answer session. So I'd like to call on the global Andy to like round up first. It's been a long night. Global Andy, please can we have you?
My God, it has been such an insightful session. I don't know about you guys, but for me, hi, I've learned new things. My mind has been blown away, and I just know and trust that many of us have gotten clarity from this. And first, let me appreciate those of us that made it to this time, because yes, it's a long stretch, but we're going to have a recording uploaded, and we'll like that as many sessions you missed, or if you're not able to see it through the end, you should go back to what you bought. You all are the MVPs. Like, you stayed from the beginning till the end. You all are the MVPs. Like, I really do not take that the fact that you stayed, I do not take it for granted. And I just want you to I want to welcome you to your evolving season, because now you know what to do. Now you're able to hear the voice clearly. This is the path I want you to walk in it. Now you have clarity, because you understand that clarity will come as you move. Now you have discipline, and you're able to be consistent with what God has placed on your inside. Now you are able to position yourself properly for the becoming. So I pray and I ask that the Lord places his hands upon your lives, and you have speed and you have ease, and you have speed and you have ease in the right journey, that you do not go in the wrong journey, that you go in the right place and at the right time, that you will not fail God, that you will not fail your generation, because the endless expectation of the creator is awaiting our manifestations. The place of becoming is the place where we begin to manifest all that has been placed in our inside. That demands for what have been placed in our insides through process are being made realistic, are being made to manifest. And so I pray that the Lord will help us, the Lord will cause his face to shine upon us, and we will be blessings to our generation, because nations will call us blessed and generations to come will call us blessed in the name of Jesus. Our lives will be examples to see, and our lives will be epistles to read, that many will see our lives and will find it worthy of emulation, that they will want to emulate, and they will want to walk in alignment with how we are walking, because really we have the Bible that many people read in this day and this time. I pray that God will help us. I pray that he will reveal himself to us, and that there will be many encounters birthed from this event in the name of Jesus. So once again, I want to appreciate everyone that showed up tonight, and to my lovely speakers. My God, hey, the Lord will use you more and more, and you will continue to be a vessel unto honor for the Master's use in the name of Jesus. And so, guys, I just want to leave us with this charge: grow, evolve. Be the you the world is waiting to meet, because the Master's business requires haste. Please let's ensure to before we ensure to have our great night's rest, we want to make an announcement. So the growth circle is launching. Even though I don't think our logo is ready. Joseph, sorry, can you unmute your mic? Joseph, are you there? Joseph
Yes,
Adeyemi, are you
yes, 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 yes. I
there?
mean,
Are we ready, or we should still hold on?
we should still done.
Hey, you people, it's Joseph that caused this one. But anyway,
Am I?
we would like you to follow the Growth Circle on Instagram, because we're now on Instagram, and we're going to be going all out, because we're a community. We're a community of like-minded that are having to navigate growth together, and we're having to navigate the path to purpose together, because you don't have to do life alone. You can do life in a community. And yes, guys, thank you so much once again. We really appreciate the team and I. We really appreciate, and we do not take your presence for granted. Do ensure to have a lovely night's rest. Bye bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye.